guests to the 5th annual Tallulah Falls School Athletic Legends Hall of Honor. This is being videotaped and we'll be able to provide that to you later, and all the information will be on our website as well. I first want to introduce and recognize Dr. Larry A. Peavy, our president and head of school in his 19th year at Tallulah Falls School. I want to be very clear that Dr. Peavy's leadership and his support for TFS athletics is simply and profoundly great. So, new facilities, baseball renovation, indoor batting cage, golf performance lab, not many people have that, new performance center, natatorium, lower gym renovation, and upcoming new surface on our 120-meter straightaway. Any equipment that's ever been needed, Dr. Peavy has provided. He's told me very clearly that we want excellence, and he's going to help provide for that. So we appreciate everything that you've done for Tallulah Falls School, and Dr. Peavy will just give a brief introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. I want to welcome all of you to this ceremony today. We've got some great leaders that we're recognizing, and they're coming back to a school I think that's very special to them and to the students that are currently enrolled. The word that I hear more than anything when I talk with parents and with students is the word family. And a lot of the kids, I think, really feel the atmosphere on this campus is so special that, it's a safe environment where they can rise to the highest level they're capable of reaching. And I guess my proudest moment is seeing them when they return as super leaders. And that's what we have today. The school has changed a little bit since I first got here. We had about 120 students, and just about all of them were boarding students at that time. And I went to my first baseball game. And I went out on the field, and I said, "Coach, where are all the players?" He said, "This is it." I said, "But there are only 9 of them here." He said, "That's all it takes for a ball game." And I said, "Well, who's that playing first base?" He told me who it was, and she was the best player. And right then we decided that we needed to do something, didn't we, Scott? And we started building our program, first an academic program that I think you would be very proud of today, guys. It's not just a basic program that you find in most schools. We teach 21 college classes on this campus now. Most of our seniors graduate with a year of college already behind them. It's really amazing. There are just so many different advantages. If you look in the boarding program today, too, it's a wonderful program because we have international students from 31 different countries now. And that brings cultural enrichment to our campus. And our 500 students all interact. They go to ball games together, they play sports together, they travel together, they live together, and they are exposed to so many different wonderful things that other kids don't have access to. And one of the things I like most about this is we've got people like Scott Neal that will take a program and just run with it. And that's what he's done with our athletic program for 26 years. And he also started several years ago this wonderful program that recognizes outstanding former athletes and leaders. And you can't be a strong athlete if you're not a strong leader, can you? And these people certainly represent that. Now, I'm not going to get into everything that they've done. Scott's going to do most of that. But I do have to say a few things. Lindsay, I didn't get a chance to know you because you graduated before I got here. But I've heard nothing but great things, and you still hold some records too, and I think that's wonderful. I'm very proud of you, and she also is an outstanding TV and film producer. So there's so many wonderful things. I wish I had had a chance to know you when you were a student. Sharon Durkan. What can I say about Sharon? Well, talk about a leader. She has really been a leader ever since she was on campus. When I arrived in 2007, my secretary said, "A student has called and asked for an appointment with you." And I said, "Okay." And Sharon Durkan, she's a 10th grader, and she'd like for you to meet her in the cafeteria. So she knew exactly what she wanted, I guarantee you. And so I went over to the cafeteria, so we sat there and talked a little bit, and she had a project that she wanted to do, and she put it together and did it. And not only that, but she did a lot of other things, I tell you. She's just been a great leader. But the thing, Sharon, other than being a great athlete and all the other leadership things you did as president of class and whatever, the thing I remember most about Sharon is on graduation day. I don't know whether you remember or not, but you came up to me and you said, "I just want to let you know, I'm going to go on to school to Smith, I think." Didn't you go to Smith? "And when I graduate, and when you retire, I want to come back and get your job." And I said, "Sharon," I said, "you would do a good job there." I said, "I look forward to that." But she always knew what she wanted, and I thought it was a wonderful young lady with great leadership qualities. And you don't have too long to wait now, Sharon. We're getting close. Malcolm Jones is another story, though. Malcolm was a great leader in so many different ways, a great athlete. And one day, Jimmy Franklin came up to me and he said, "I got to tell you about something." I said, "What is that?" He said, "Malcolm Jones is buying food at a low price and he's selling it in the dormitory." I said, "What?" And he said, "No, but wait." He said, "Before you get all upset about it," he said, "he's donating all the money to the track program." And that was the kind of guy Malcolm was. You know, he was not only a leader in all the things he participated in, but he always thought about helping others. And I just thought that was wonderful. That you did so many different things. And that's just a very minor thing, but it was major to me when I heard about what you did. And then Caleb Griffis. I'm so glad Tamara's here today and her children. What an outstanding young man Caleb was. And one of the things I remember most, not other than all of his athletic skills, was he was the recipient of the Hart EMC Washington Leadership Trip. And he did so many other things. He was a great ROTC person at Clemson, and in fact, he was an outstanding ROTC person at Clemson. So it's a proud heritage there, and we always remember him with great fondness. This is something, by the way, I keep in my office so that visitors can see what some of the outstanding students have done over the years. So anyway, glad to have all you guys back, and glad to recognize 4 outstanding students. And I wish you the greatest luck as you continue your successful careers. But I also want you to be sure to come back to see us. Don't forget that we still care about you and we still believe in you. So keep that light burning strong, okay? Coach, thank you.
So I always want to say this, the mission of our athletic program is to develop great character, competence, and competitiveness, to host great events, and to create a season of significance. I'd also like to publicly thank Brian Carter for his expertise in promoting TFS athletics. His excellence with the Legends Hall of Honor and the vast amount of focused hours he spends promoting and highlighting our athletes all the way up to midnight at most nights. So each of these inductees demonstrated these great traits as they were integral in their team's significant seasons. Each has a unique description about them that I feel represents them and helps to honor a portion of their identity, leadership, and memory. The first of our 4 inductees is Valencia Whaley, class of 2002. I see Valencia as a creative competitor. She was at TFS since 7th grade, though out of the country as a freshman. I first met her in 1999, my first year at TFS, when she was a sophomore. We had some interesting moments early on. She was a standout in track and field and basketball, most improved award in hoops. She was a track and field team captain and an NHS member. The region champ and state runner-up in discus her senior year, and a discus region runner-up and 6th at state her junior year. She still holds the school record at 115 feet 3 inches, still stands here 23 years later. She held the shot put record when she graduated, and she competed at the next level at Mount Holyoke College. She got a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in digital filmmaking and video production, became a TV and film producer, and her work includes working for Oprah, working on an Emmy-nominated television series, and working on a 2024 documentary film that was shortlisted for an Academy Award. Her goals include writing on screenplays and children's books. So Valencia had an intuitive mind, clearly demonstrated that ownership of her dreams yielded positive and purposeful results. She was unafraid of risk, knowing that failure is simply fertilizer and that success takes tenacious patience. Always creative and competitive. I remember her facial expressions were always like that. She was always wandering in her mind, but focused on the task at hand. She was not defined by her performances, but she was a competitor. She saw pressure as opportunity, competition as a creative situation in which to integrate skills and fortitude, processing things as she went along. She combined that thoughtful inquisitiveness with a stubborn, unyielding determination that didn't get bogged down with the superfluous. She enjoyed the journey, the process to win, to succeed, to make a difference, while her mind, like I said, wandered with bigger thoughts, unbound by simply a superficial external measure. She had an uncanny ability to focus, a tenaciousness in preparation. She would spend long hours on the field or on the court trying to get better. In competition and in questioning preconceptions, she was on task. She was a big deal on campus. She was respected and admired for her accomplishments, her ability to relate to anyone, and for striving towards excellence. She wanted to compete, to create, and to make a difference. Today, I'm proud to honor 2002 graduate Valencia Whaley for her outstanding achievements, her competitive and creative spirit that still lives on in our record book, in our minds, and for the many future projects she will complete to help the lives of others. Valencia Whaley, and I do want to stop just for a second. These little descriptions, if you walk away with those, it will always be a remembrance of who they are. So, creative competitor, welcome home. Thank you for the standards of pursuit you so creatively employed, and for the wonderful memories. We proudly induct you into the 2024-25 TFS Athletics Legends Hall of Honor.
First, I must apologize for my appearance. I got off on the plane yesterday and my luggage did not make it. So sorry. But I'm here, thank you for this honor first, and I'm here really for Coach. Coach has been bugging me to do this for 2 or 3 years, and I keep saying, I don't know, I don't feel like it, I'm not gonna come. And then he told me he was retiring this year, and he's still one of my favorite people here. And I thought, you know, I was here in his first year, and I'll be here in your last year. And he's very right. When we first met, I did not like him. Okay. I was in gym, he was the new gym teacher, and he had this ever-present annoying smile. Okay, he was saying, God bless you all the time. He wanted to be so helpful. I was trying to do a jump shot. He would say, if you do it this way, I'm like, I don't need your help. Sir, I don't know who you are. But then he started to win me over little by little, and my best friend convinced me to join the basketball team and also to join the track and field team. And I did not want to join track because I knew how Coach treated us in gym class and that it was going to be very difficult, which it was, but it was also a great character builder. And it taught me about being a teammate, it taught me about resilience, it taught me about pushing through and perseverance. And just being in this school in general, I haven't been back here in almost 20 years, and so it was a lot smaller in my day. I like to say back in my day now. And there were 23 kids in my graduating class, so it was quite small. But being here was wonderful for me to be at TFS. I came in 7th grade, and we had a little bit of a tumultuous coming up. We just done a bunch of moving, and my sister and I came here. We chose to, and it was the best thing. You know, so many people talk about, I had a horrible high school experience or something like that. I didn't feel that way. I had a wonderful time. There were wonderful teachers. I see some of you now. Hi. And I would recommend anybody come to this school. And it has really formed me in a way. I think it prepared me, of course, for college. It prepared me for just being out in the world when you're away from your parents like that, and you learn how to get along with everybody. You know, that's how you survive, and these people are family. So it's wonderful to accept this award, and also to say thank you so much. You never gave up on me, even though I was surly for a while. But, you know, I've told you this before, but he was also a father figure for me, for a lot of us kids back then. And to also have so much of your blessings and prayer, and that's something that, you know, you see in this school. It's a Christian school. And that was really a great foundation. Yeah. So thank you all for this honor. It's good to see some of your faces again. And thanks.
The next 3 inductees are from the category of athlete leaders. The first time since inception that we are inducting special athletes whose influence was more based on their distinct leadership impact. Their natural talent and positive results were very important to them, and they certainly seized each day for the opportunity afforded them. Their influence lives on in my stories to teams, as well as their stories as inductees. The next one is Sharon Durkan, class of 2010. Sharon is an uplifter of dreams. She competed in cross country until her sophomore year when she switched to volleyball. I was kind of bummed about that, but happy for Ms. Campbell. She competed in basketball 2 middle school years and 3 years in high school, and track and field all 6 years as an Indian. She was a consummate teammate, captain of both track and field and basketball, NHS president, TFS ambassador, President's Award, Student of the Year, senior class president. Sharon was one of the only 2 in my time here who were top 10 finalists for the Vince Dooley Awards, Athlete for a Better World. She was even second team all-region in volleyball. Would you ever thought that when she first started? And scored points in the region track and field meet at one time, and actually had the 800-meter school record at one time. Sharon went on to obtain her BA in government at Smith College, while continuing in leadership roles and in several clubs and organizations. She was elected to the Boston City Council in July of 2023 and later re-elected. She was the owner of Durkan Consulting from 2017 to 23 and acted as the fundraiser for U.S. Senator Ed Markey. Mayor Michelle Wu and other elected officials, and also being the former chair of the Democratic Ward Committee. Sharon displayed a strong sense of community as a student. Rooted, cultivated, and blossoming in making the world a better place, she routinely placed others above self, purpose over prestige, and service, like I said, above self. Coach Hammett commented, she had the compassion to seek mercy and the courage to command righteousness. She had a sense of identity, again, uplifter of dreams, and chose to not flutter with distractions. Instead, she came early, stayed late, and did the little things that would create a better role on the team. A couple of quick memories of Sharon. She had no sense of direction. No sense of direction, but wherever she would be was in the moment while knowingly preparing for a better future. It is worth noting that after Hurricane Ivan, we're on Rock Mountain Road over here in cross country, and just a complete storm. You know, we had more rain that day than I was experienced in New Mexico ever. And we're running on Rock Mountain Road, and we get back to the minibus, and I notice that Sharon's not here. So we're all trying to find out, where is Sharon? So I'm looking going, I hope I have a job pretty soon, because I don't want to lose a child. And so we find out she's not there. So I have to go looking around. At the time, we had a barn over here, and my wife Diana had some horses, and I asked Diana, hey, can I get a horse? Can you help us go find her? And she goes, I'm not taking a horse out on this. So we go look around, and I remember in the backwoods over here, somebody had a four-wheeler. So I just started going up to trailers and people's places and just knocking on the door, and you have a four-wheeler? No, but Johnny Joe has one over here, and I go over there, and I'm not there, and make the story shorter, I finally get to this place, has a four-wheeler, and knock on the door, and can I use your four-wheeler? Keys are in it, take it. I said, do you have a helmet? Helmet. Just take the four-wheeler. So I go and find her, and on the way down Stone Place Road, she's in an old Jeep with some random guy bringing her back up from Stone Place. You couple that with, I tell Sharon, we're going to be on the North Rim Trail. All you do is stay on the trail, go to the inn, and turn back. The next thing I know, Bill Gocher's calling me, say, have some of your kids. They're in the police car. I'm like, what did they do? They got lost. Sharon led them somewhere else. So the other good story basically is Sharon at one point in time came to me and said, look, it looks like I'm going to not be able to score at region. I really think I can help this other hurdler on our team be better in her score. And so she really spent that time helping the other hurdler, and it ended up being, she ended up the person in the meet, and she scored herself. But that selflessness was what she was like. She gave witty announcements in the morning. I think everybody that was around during that time would remember those. She raised a lot of money for Hoops for Heart. She raised money to buy a cow, and for other things along the way. One final one. It shows a lot about her identity, and I actually use this story to my teams every year. We're at an indoor meet in Tennessee, and I had taught her to hold her breath and yell when she threw the shot put. So we're indoor, and she holds her breath, and throughout the whole place, you hear this, ah! And all of the competitors next to her look up to see where that shot put is going. And then they can't find it, so they look down, and there it is, like 20 feet away. And everybody started bursting out laughing, but what it caused was instant respect for someone who was unafraid to do what was right, no matter how well they did. And that was Sharon. Quickly, this is my letter of recommendation as the Dooley Award finalist, and it really sums up everything this many years later as well. Sharon's volleyball, basketball, and track and field coaches all attest to her work ethic, commitment, and understanding that training is vital to improvement. Sharon attended summer camps to improve her volleyball skills as well as throwing camps. She would be found after practice working on whatever aspect her coach felt she needed improvement in order to help the team. Punctual, dependable, and trustworthy, her coaches praise her effort, team mentality, and can-do attitude. Competing against self better describes Sharon than the idea of defeating others. Victory is sweet and defeat is not fun, but the process of doing one's best within a team environment while helping friends achieve is vital to her, as was deflecting praise to others. Well liked by teammates, coaches, administrators, and younger students, Sharon's loyalty, honesty, patience, generosity, and desires for others to succeed bodes well to create strong relational bonds. Humble in victory or praise and determined in defeat, the recognition that one is never as good as made out to be and never as bad as the criticism, Sharon had a mature outlook upon athletic participation, her role in it, and the complexities of high school emotions. I said, Sharon Durkan has a quest in life to leave a legacy. She's not happy with simply being blank paper waiting to be written on. She realizes self-satisfaction is not a worthy pursuit, yet utilizing and developing talents for the benefit of others is ultimately more fulfilling. I've seen her struggle and succeed, observed the transformation in her life. She has a rare ability to understand her weaknesses, yet not dwell on them, to recognize her strength as a team member and a leader of what needs to be done. What's deeply appreciated is that no external talent separates her from others. She wasn't the valedictorian, star athlete, she wasn't the drama queen. She's also not afraid to stand up for what's right, and even to this day, in her councilwoman position, I know that to be true. She's not bothered by the arduous work necessary to be successful. Coach Chester said, Sharon is a walking cause. She's continually trying to get one thing or another accomplished. Her leadership role in almost everything she participates is unwilling to settle for anything less than her best. Sharon Durkan, a genuine uplifter of dreams, we honor you today as an athlete leader for your great character, competence, and competitiveness while at TFS, for being instrumental in all that you undertook and for the exceptional manner in which you fulfilled each role on your teams, and now induct you into the 2024-25 TFS Athletics Legends Hall of Honor. Uplift your dreams, Sharon Durkan.
So I'll just say thank you so much to my family for being here. This means so much to me. I think you all know I really grew up on this campus, I'd be remiss if I didn't say I've got my stepdad here, I've got my dad here, and I've got my third dad here. Thank you, Coach Neal, for everything that you've done. Honestly, you are calling me the uplifter of dreams, but I just feel really uplifted by growing and learning and being on this campus. And yesterday, another honoree and I, Malcolm, got to speak to the track team, and it put me back in that mindset of just excellence first. And I just want to say that I've done a lot since I graduated. I remember, I've been in Boston about 10 years and in Massachusetts about 15 years since I graduated. And I've been able to, my 10-year anniversary in Boston is coming up in May. And I've always had this question, what gave me the audacity to run for Boston City Council in a place that I hadn't even lived in for a decade? And I think what gave me that audacity was knowing that my voice is powerful, that all of our voices are together, more powerful. And I think that voice that I was able to harness is one that I developed here on this campus through TFS Athletics. I came here not having done a single sport, not having run a single mile really, and ended up doing cross country for 3 years, being all region in volleyball, getting to score my first point at region, which in 100-meter hurdles, which meant so much to me. And I do remember a Raven County coach came up to Coach Neal, and when I was running hurdles, and he goes, "That's the slowest person with the best form I've ever seen." And that is what this program really gave me, is I wasn't an excellent athlete, but I worked really hard, and getting to invest in the next generation. Whenever there was a new person that joined the team, it was all about them, and getting to see just how many people made it to state this year, made it like by the, hair of their chinny chin chin, but they made it to state this year. It just shows you how far the track program has gone. And I just want to thank, I know the Campbells, I know you are now retired and you're living a better life now and you're not having to do the day-to-day of being a coach, but you both in my relationship with God and with just your mentorship. I mean, Mr. Campbell knows I had geometry with him. We got to work together in so many different ways. Getting to be good at volleyball was the first sport I was ever good at, and I ever really, because it was a skill sport. And I still play volleyball. And that to me is really just the testament of now I have a lifelong sport because of you both, and I'm grateful to you. And I just want to say, I think the reason that I'm here is similar to Valencia. When I heard that Coach Neal was retiring, I knew I'm running for re-election. I have to get back on the ballot next week. This is not a convenient time for me to leave and be here. But when I heard that Coach Neal was retiring, someone who has poured himself into this school for 26 years, I knew that I had to be here. And just seeing who I'm being honored alongside, it just shows sort of like the depth of leadership and people who have graduated from the school who are doing incredible things. Dr. Malcolm Jones, Valencia Whaley, who's doing amazing things, also a women's college grad, so we've got a theme going. And I do have a surprise for Coach Neal. As a city councilor, I get to give out official proclamations on behalf of the city of Boston. And so today, this is an official resolution from the City of Boston City Council, offered by Councilor Sharon Durkan. Be it resolved that the Boston City Council celebrates the retirement and contribution of Coach Scott Neal in recognition of his outstanding impact on the Tallulah Falls School community as athletic director and head coach of the cross-country and track and field teams. With over 40 years of coaching experience and 25 plus years at TFS, Coach Neal has been a dedicated leader and mentor, guiding the school through many of the most successful years in its athletic history. Throughout his career, Coach Neal has shown his unwavering commitment to students, supporting their athletic achievements, fostering strong character, and helping them grow into confident, capable individuals. The Boston City Council extends its deepest gratitude for a legacy defined by excellence and his influence on shaping the leadership ability and work ethic of Boston City Councilor Sharon Durkan and countless athletes who owe their success to his mentorship and investment in their personal growth. And this is signed by the President of the Boston City Council and our clerk. And so you've got yourself an official resolution. I wanted to make sure I was giving something back. So that's for Coach Neal's wall of awards that he's gotten through his career. But I just want to thank you all for being here. This means so much to me. And I think if you were in Boston the past month, every person I talk to, they go, "What's going on with you?" I don't know if you know, but I'm being inducted into my high school's athletic hall of honor, so it's a pretty big month for me. So thank you, Coach. I thank you for everything.
Next up is Malcolm Jones, class of 2011. How many of you seen the movie War Horse? If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it, and when you watch it, you'll have an idea of what this means. I don't know if Malcolm has even seen it or not, but there are a lot of descriptions I could use for Malcolm, War Horse to me is that one because War Horse in that movie went through so much, yet did so many things to unite people together and to accomplish tasks, but do it in such a way that it was influential to everybody around. Malcolm was a multi-year letter earner in basketball and track and field, and a multi-year team captain. He had the school record of 136.7 in the discus. He also threw the shot over 42 feet. He dabbled with various other events early in his career. He was a warhorse athlete, always dependable in everything. His work ethic, his ability to work with other people. He was the middle school student of the year, boarding student of the year, science student of the year. He was the TFS student of the year, Georgia Certificate of Merit, multiple-time MVP, Athletic Character Award. He was an artist who won awards for his batiks, his pottery, and his mixed media. At various other academic and student-oriented honors, Malcolm was a Gates Scholar, a $250,000 scholarship that helped him all the way through college. He was a warhorse student. Malcolm passed his NSCA, Certified Personal Training certification at 18 years old. 18, right? It has a 50% pass rate for adults who've graduated from college. Malcolm passed it the first time. He competed in track and field at Emory University, got his BA in Human Health and Visual Arts, his master's and his PhD at the University of Southern California in Physiology. He overhauled the personal training program at Emory while he was a student there. His ability to be a mover and shaker skyrocketed while at Emory. He was a warhorse student, athlete, and advocate. One thing about Malcolm is he overcame a lot of adversity, things that people would never know about, things that young people his age at that time should never go through. Little things about mostly health types of things, but Malcolm always saw his family as critical and important in his life. He did everything to help them, and they helped him in return. TFS was also his family. I wrote about him. Malcolm Jones is a learner with a sense of purpose, destiny, and legacy. In all my years in education, I've never seen someone go through so much adversity at such a young age, and such a mature, persevering, and positive outlook with his intensity and foresight. Malcolm doesn't study to pass a test. He's fully engaged in what, how, when, where, who, and why, with an uncanny aptitude to fit pieces of any puzzle together. In high school strength and conditioning class, he listened and immediately applied the fundamental principles of exercise science in daily workouts, unlike any person I've ever taught. Shortly after graduating, I said he passed that test. He lives his story. There was a time he was in a hospital bed when it dawned on him he could make a lasting impact upon people's lives. He didn't perform community service, join teams, or look for easy ways to put something on a resume. He did those things because becoming a student of life, of people's needs, of impact, simply became ingrained in him. It became who he was, and purpose oozed out. My memories of Malcolm, he was always mission-driven, whether plowing furrow ground, pulling someone along, or going it alone, whether getting stuck in the barbed wire, you see the movie, because he went legs a-blazing to and through the fray, or whether he just followed the whistle of God. Over time, Mr. Peavy said he raised over $3,000. We still have a couple pair of those shoes this many years later. A couple of the soles are coming off. He was incredibly revered by his peers and by teachers here all the way through middle and high school. He knows the effect of single leg inertia squats, the pain of going through things knowing that something is better coming along. Whether fighting someone to keep the peace, proctoring his own health care, advocating for others, intentionally pursuing challenges that he knew would simply stimulate him to higher grounds, or sending home supper money. Malcolm chose to be the warhorse when it was needed, and the gentlest of friends when needed as well. A true learner, he didn't study for anything. I gotta say, his senior speech was probably the best speech I've ever seen in my life, and I'm not exaggerating that. It was incredible. Those people who saw it to this day would remember His presence and his command upon everyone, his ability to know and understand what he was speaking, and his desire for that to impact the people who heard it. Malcolm, you're one of the most intriguing, grittiest, purpose-driven men I've ever met, and I personally honor you in front of everyone today. Warhorse Malcolm Jones, thank you for setting a legendary work ethic, a relentless focus, and an incredibly positive resilience while aiming for significance, influence, and a better world. We're proud to celebrate you as an athlete leader in the class of 2024-25 TFS Athletic Legends Hall of Honor.
I'll say that I'm very appreciative to be here. I'm very honored. I'm very surprised. And Warhorse, yes, Coach. I think it was like three things that I think that we had to watch here. One was Warhorse, so I watched it here. I also think it was, I don't know if it was you, Mr. Kevin, that made us watch Hoosiers. No, it was you. It was Hoosiers and Field of Dreams. they were part of our curriculum here. So yes, and I think it's wild that when I watch Warhorse, I was like, oh man, what a tough life. I hope that's not me. But you're with that was, if you know it, it's a story. It's a story of tragedy and triumph. I'm very proud to be attached to, but I would have never expected that it would be attached to me. I'll say a lot of being here in joining the athletic Hall of Legends at TFS with Valencia and Sharon. It's an honor, but it's an athletic journey that's rooted and deeply intertwined with the values and experiences that were nurtured here at TFS. So I grew up believing that being a talented athlete would inevitably lead me to everything I wanted in life. It was a belief that probably a lot of the young athletes just in the world share. I was sure I was going to be climbing podiums all the time, collecting medals, and being recognized at national and global levels. It was an assumption that after 7th grade, I was just going to go to the Olympics. So in many ways, I did get some of these things, but they were not in the way that I expected. So today, I've gotten more than I probably could have dreamed of. I'm the Director of Health Innovation over at USC, the University of Southern California's Innovation Academy, and it's something that really pains Mr. Chester. But I find myself at the intersection of athletic and innovation. It's a path I've never imagined, but a journey that is very rewarding and enriching. However, my time at TFS that made me realize that the reasons that I thought I wanted to be an athlete weren't necessarily the reasons that athletes got the things that I think I saw them get. So I thought I wanted to be an athlete because when I saw athletes speak, or when they realized there was a problem in the world, they would go up on the podium, they would say something, and they would do something, everybody would listen to them, and they had the capabilities to change the world. But it wasn't until my adulthood that I learned that it wasn't because they were so good at their performance in their sport that made people listen to them and made them able to change. They were so good at their sport. That was one of the byproducts of all of the other characteristics that becoming a champion gave to them. So when it came to doing well in their sport, that was nothing compared to what we needed to do things, change things in the world. So when Coach Gill said I had some time to speak today, that's what I wanted to focus on and talk about. So, and lucky for me, these traits that are the byproducts and consequences of being an athlete are some of the things that were the most important things that came out of being an athlete. And that was pretty lucky for me because if any of you were around when I was here, I was a sick man. And I live in LA now, so sick can be a good thing. But I could not go 9 months without being in the hospital because I had lupus nephritis, and kidney transplant, and all these different things. But through all of it, I don't think there was ever a season that I didn't play a sport because of the people who were around. So at its core, being an athlete encompasses much more than physical prowess, but the journey that offers profound life lessons and attributes leading to inspired action and meaningful change. And some of these primary qualities that I consider that I was given directly by my coaches here said are these things. And I think the primary one of those things is, as athletes, we learn vision and purpose. So great athletes often have clear vision and a deep sense of purpose that clearly transcends into their advocacy and their ability to influence positive change. The purpose-driven journey is imbued in disciplining themselves towards a meaningful cause. So we see this as onlookers, as the byproduct of essentially the pursuit of them becoming the best in their sport, fueled by underlying purpose and vision, leading to their peak performance. I remember one of the things that was the most frustrating about Coach Neal was when I wanted to do something, like if I wanted to set a record for an event, track and field, he would say why. He would ask us why. And you ask a seventh grader why, it's obvious, because I want my name on the sheet that says I won the record. But then he would ask why again, and it was like, I don't think there is a more of a why. But he made us have to truly understand that if we wanted something, we had to understand why we wanted that thing. We had to have the vision to know why we wanted that thing. Because when he had expectations to help, he said, I'm going to help you get this thing that you said you wanted. Because you told me why, you're not going to get mad at me when I make you do these things. And when you ask me why I'm making you do these things, I'm going to tell you why, because it's going to be this answer. Another one of these traits that I got from being an athlete here is courage and resilience. So facing immense pressure and challenges both within and outside the sport of realm, athletes develop incredible resilience and the courage to stand up for what is right. And when we see that as onlookers, we see the tenacity and mental fortitude that enables them to remain focused and recover from setbacks and naturally hone this talent further. Another thing that I got here was empathy and social awareness. I think athletes with a deep understanding of the broader context of society possess the empathy needed to connect, inspire, and activate positive change. And when we were here, even though it wasn't until Sharon got us laptops, we didn't have access to the internet, we had to know what was going on in the world, and we had to incorporate that into all the things that we were doing. And then the final thing I wanted to talk about that I got from being an athlete here is integrity and character. And that is, integrity is foundational in guiding athletes not only in the field, but their interaction with others and decisions outside of the game. And it gives them the authority and the credibility they need to be followed. And we see this as their commitment to ethics and fair play becoming intrinsic to their sporting endeavors and refining their talents with authenticity. So these qualities form what it means to be a champion, and they underpin the influence that athletes wield, showing the real wins that occur not just in competition, but in driving societal progress and empathy. And profiles of the athletes that we know that are we celebrating today resonate further than the echoes of their sport. And I say that again is because it's a benefit to me because of my time in lots of hospitals. I missed some things or some things that I didn't get to do that would have made me that ESPN athlete that everybody had to listen to. But I still got all those benefits. So today, I am a Jordan-sponsored scientist. And so I like to tell people, so same as Michael Jordan, who started the brand, same as like Carmelo Anthony and Russell Westbrook, who's sponsored by Jordan. And it has nothing to do with my jump shot. It has nothing to do with my ability to be good at basketball. It is because of everything that I understand around athletics and me being able to apply that to science, which I was given here in these spaces, both the science and math. And it's cool to see all my coaches in here and my first math teacher. It was geometry, because I remember we say, why would we need this? I use geometry more than I use anything in life as a biomechanist, as a physiologist. While it would disappoint you at how terrible I am at baseball, I am on Mookie Betts' speed dial. I make sure that he makes it through each season. I am one of the number one scientists dealing with Tommy John's injury, the UCL injury, to make sure that pitchers prolong their time in the sport. And I can tell you, I can probably name like 4 positions in baseball. But I understand athletes because of my time here, and I understand science, and I understand that when you're passionate about something, it doesn't separate from anything. All right, so I'm rambling, and the last thing I'm going to say is something that Coach Gill doesn't know. It is the power that I also learned of the mind that kind of he instilled in us, all as athletes here. So it was I remember in 8th grade, so in 7th grade, I had to, the girls' basketball team were pretty good. But I was on the 7th grade team. And I remember 8th grade came, and I was like, finally, I'm going to be the best person on the team. And that year, we didn't have enough people to have a team. So I had to play JV. And I was so mad. I was like, I'm finally supposed to be the best. And like, this is the year that I have to go in the 8th grade and play high schoolers. And what's wild is also I've been this height since I was in 8th grade. So I was like, I'm going to dominate. That year, I had to play. I didn't get to play much because whatever. But then the next year, I was like, I'm going to run JV by myself. Now I'm ready for this. And then I remember the first game, I was like, I'm going to do all these things I never got to do. I remember hurting my knee, and then I just fell. Nobody knew why. So everybody was like, it was a very unclimactic injury, and I didn't know why. And I remember Nurse Baker would take me to the doctor and try to figure out all these things to understand why, and just nobody knew for like all year, for like 2 years. It was just like he's got old man knees. Maybe I had Osmond Slaughter, maybe we had this, but no doctors could tell what it was. So Coach Neal, he brought up these inertia squats. He was like, well, you gotta make sure you're enrolled in weight training. And I remember I had health in 9th grade. I had to be in Miss Campbell's health class. I was like, why would I be in health and weight training? And Coach was like, if you want to get better, you gotta be in weight training. So I joined this weight training class, and in between all of my hospital visits, I would go there, and they wouldn't know what was wrong. But Coach Dill would be like, well, we don't know what's wrong, but we know how to get you better. And I would do these inertia squats. Now, I eventually got better, not knowing why. We never still understood what it was, but we thought I grew out of it. So this was about maybe 11 years ago, 12 years ago. This past August, I'm basically prepping to go to the Masters Olympics in tennis now. I'm fire at tennis now. So I play a lot of tennis in LA. And I came down on my knee wrong, and in August I dislocated my MCL. Now, because of what I do in athletics now, I have access to everything. So that night, when I realized that my MCL was dislocated, I knew I needed an MRI, and I knew it would take forever. I went to my own lab, and I did my own MRI. And I read my own MRI, and I was like, this looks like, I should know how to read an MRI, but something looks wrong. There looks like I'm missing a ligament. So maybe I just don't know how to read. Maybe I don't know as well as I should, and I should probably not be pretending. Maybe Mookie Betts, I'm not who Mookie Betts thinks I am, who I am. So I call our head of surgery at USC, Dr. Gamrat, and I'm like, bro, can you look at this MRI I'm gonna send you over? Like, I know that my MCL is dislocated, but I can't find the other stuff that's supposed to be in there. Like, it's like, I'm supposed to like ACL, right? And I was like, but do you see it? He looked, he was like, yeah, bro, like, you're right. There is no ACL there. There's this little thing that looks like you had one, but for it to have dissolved like that, it has to have been gone for like 12 years. And I was like, well, how could this have been? He was like, well, about 12 years ago, did you have a knee injury? I was like, well, yeah, but I just got better. And then we ran track and I played basketball. I never had surgery. He was like, bro, you lost your ACL. And you must have just rehabbed it to the point of that you didn't need an ACL. And now you've just been relying on your MCL, and now that your MCL is dislocated, you probably need to come here for me to give you another ACL, bro. I don't know how you've been living like this. And I was like, Coach Neal. He literally, I had a life-ending, a sport-ending injury. And you don't realize that you trained me out of not needing surgery. Like, you created a medical miracle that you don't even know that you did. And that is why when people tell me things are impossible in any field, whether it's politics, whether it's art, whether it's what it is, I refer back to my time at TFS. All right, so I'm done rambling. Thank you all.
Our final inductee is athlete leader Caleb Griffis, graduate of 2019. Caleb was a conductor of adventure. Caleb passed in 2021. Yes, he ran cross country since 6th grade. He had a respectable 19:06 5K PR. In his track and field career, when I look back, I didn't realize how many events he had actually competed in, but it ranged from the 200 to the 3200, both hurdles, pole vault, high jump, and then he settled into throwing shot put and discus his senior year. We have pictures of y'all bass fishing, and so notable high school achievements include a presidential ambassador, National Honor Society, Georgia Merit Scholar, TFS Scholar Athlete Award, Indian Iron Award, Indian of the Year Award. At Clemson, he was a ROTC National 4-year scholarship recipient. He pursued a Bachelor's of Science degree in economics. He was a squad leader. He was a Ranger competition team leader. He was nominated for Air Assault School. He was awarded Cadet of the Year 2020-2021. Caleb is the annual Legacy Award name holder at Clemson's Army Training Program. After his tragic passing while traveling to Clemson, the Caleb Griffis Memorial Foundation was established in his honor in 2021. The foundation awards scholarships at TFS and helps fund ROTC students at Clemson University. From an athletic performance view, Caleb was normal and ordinary, and there are Calebs on every team in the nation. Though his results were average, his commitment and preparation, his mindset and thinking pattern, and ability to lead others made him truly exceptional. I don't know if y'all know this or not. I didn't know Caleb was an A student until midway through his senior year. He was so unpretentious on anything. There was nothing about him that needed the limelight, yet he was as comfortable having all eyes on him if it served a greater cause as he was helping someone with no one else knowing, which happened quite often. There's a book titled Do Hard Things. Caleb would have loved that. That was his mentality. He was tough, not rough, but tough and tenacious and tender. He conducted this in others. Before I go on, conductor of adventure, I've told a couple people, I know nothing about music. I can't read music, I don't know anything about music, but I do understand distinctly what a conductor does. And a conductor is someone who is able to see every single one of you in here and be able to get you on the same page, in the same harmony and all the other musical terms that I don't know, but able to get you to do your best all at the same time. And that's what Caleb was. He had an adventurous mind. He wanted other people to experience what he did. Some people in here know Coach Bo James at Raven County. Bo James was an adventurer. Caleb was much like Bo James. I've never heard a single person say anything negative about Coach James, and I feel the same way about Caleb. To those who knew him well, Caleb inspired you to be your best. So let me pass on some words from two high school peers and someone who was in his platoon at Clemson. One high school peer reinforced his profound pursuit of goals and the tenacity and discipline he role modeled to get to those goals. Another example of people who have been impacted by his leadership. Caleb not only insisted on excellence for himself, but he expected it from those he led. With gentle mentorship, he ensured each person was seen and recognized for where they were at, but then pushed them to be their very best. This came from leadership of team core routines, warm-ups, relays, and team disciplines. Caleb also brought fun to the team. He provided opportunities for laughter and lightheartedness through his pranks, which were many at times, and sought after the childlike joy that comes with those games. He created a balance for each team he was a part of, but continually called those around him to a higher realm. One of his Clemson platoon mates recalls Caleb's distinct and profound impact upon the upperclassmen, his collegiate peers, and those younger than he. And many of those remember those memories and that expectation that he set. Each have stories of his loyalty, his commitment and partnership, his innate and chosen desire to sacrifice for those around him, and there are many stories about that, and for leading in front by pulling by their side as an encouraging friend, or from behind as a guiding catalyst. He had such a mixture of humility, honor, high standards, and humor that he quickly affected those around him, directly or indirectly, yet again, profoundly. Whether planning the annual cross-country trip, probably some of his most memorable moments, running from the Y camp to the bottom of Stone Place and back at 5:30 a.m. with Evan Prince, simply because Evan wanted to and because Caleb would meet that need. He was someone who saw the strengths in others and somehow was able to unite them together for an exponential growth for the unit. I personally thank the Griffis family for raising a young man who did something about the needs of others, while himself staying uniquely disciplined, resiliently upbeat, and genuinely responsible for the music they played under his careful eye. I honor Caleb and I've just been blessed by the time I was able to spend with him. So today we induct Caleb Griffis into the 2024-25 TFS Athletic Legends Hall of Honor.
Hi everyone, my name is Madison Ball, and with me I have Griffis, and we are here to receive this award on behalf of Caleb. I am Caleb's long-term friend turned high school sweetheart, and Caden is Caleb's brother. We are both honored and grateful to be standing here in his place today. For those of you that don't know, Caleb was tragically killed in a motorcycle accident in 2021, just 2 years after he graduated from TFS. At the time of Caleb's passing, we were both attending Clemson University, where Caleb was a 4-year scholarship recipient of the Army ROTC program. It was during his time at TFS that Caleb learned what was required for greatness, something Coach Neal took careful consideration in teaching each of his athletes. Under Coach Neal's leadership, Caleb learned discipline and grit. He learned how to become strong and how to bridle his strength. He learned how to lead and he learned how to learn. It is here that Caleb was formed through the challenges presented by his team and his coach. Caleb required excellence from everyone around him, whether it was in Coach Neal's carefully curated warm-ups or Caleb's implementation of team core exercises daily. He provided the place for people to show up as they were, at whatever level of performance, but insisted that they put forth their very best from day one through gentle accountability and leadership by example. While Caleb was extremely hardworking and ambitious in all areas of life, Caleb was also a man of great joy. He brought great leadership and great antics to each team he was a part of. Whether it was building a bonfire on a trail run or jumping in the lake on a whim, Caleb was known for his wild at heart personality that provided his teammates with adventure at every turn. For this reason, track and cross country were the perfect place for Caleb to feed his wild side while disciplining himself to face the challenges of just how hard he could push his limits. In the time after TFS while at Clemson, Caleb took these principles and applied them daily as they had become ingrained in him. Before each PT test for the ROTC program, he went through Coach Neal's athletic warm-up, trusting in the leadership he was formed under. He put forth discipline in his management of time and athletic performance, which allowed him to become a top-level cadet. He served as a squad leader and competitor in the Ranger Challenge and was awarded Cadet of the Year and offered a chance to attend the Air Assault School. Caleb continued to remain faithful in his standards of grit, discipline, and excellence, and he provided each cadet the opportunity to raise the standard and not just get by. He was known for curating specific exercise programs for those struggling to keep up and holding them accountable to this level of excellence, once again meeting people where they're at and raising the bar for them. His antics did not subside either. Caleb provided each of his peers the joy he brought everywhere he went, whether it was running through the woods, taking new hunters to kill squirrels for their very first time, or facilitating friendly competitions. Caleb continued to be a conductor of adventure we all know and love. And with that, we want to take the opportunity to specifically thank Coach Neal for his role in forming Caleb into the man that he was. Coach Neal demands excellence and discipline in a way that young men are intrigued by and challenged to follow. He captures their wild at heart personalities and bridles their strength, and he tells them that they are created good and with a purpose. He teaches them how to direct this strength and energy to form communities, to accomplish lofty ambitions, and to become protectors of those around them. Coach Neal provides the environment for safe failure that then allows for formation for men and women to learn what they are capable of and how to walk away knowing they gave nothing but their best. Coach Neal was incredibly influential in the formation of who Caleb was and truly cannot be repaid. His service to young men and women at a time when they are learning who they are and what they stand for will continue to ripple through generations to come. Coach, we love you, and you will be so missed. However, we cannot wait for your next Wild at Heart adventure. Thank you for those who made it possible for not only Caleb to be honored, but all of us who still hold him so close to our hearts. And thank you to Tallulah Falls School for being a place where it is safe to ask questions, to push your limits, and to become who you were made to be.
I just want to take a quick moment, and I want to talk about a little bit of the impact that Tallulah Falls School had on Caleb here. During his time here at Tallulah, as you heard, he was here since 6th grade, graduated, so he was here for a full 7 years. I want to talk about a little bit about what Tallulah Falls has not only done for his life, but for so many others as well. Being a Tallulah Falls alumni myself, I can attest to the motivation, support, and leadership that Tallulah Falls School instills in all of its students. Now, over the past few years, while working with many scholarship applications as part of the Caleb Griffis Memorial Foundation, we've come to realize how much of an impact that Caleb really had on younger students during his time here. Either in classes or on sports teams, we still hear these stories all the time. And Caleb's encouragement to others around him significantly changed the development of so many others, all because of the support that Tallulah Falls School offered him in his time here. Now, like Madison mentioned before, this fed into his college career as well. I've had the opportunity to learn how Tallulah Falls has led Caleb to help others grow from the very first conversation I've ever had with him, people I've never met before at his time in Clemson University. And like I said, same exact thing, we still hear these stories all the time. To this day, I have people reaching out to me to share stories and motivation that Caleb has offered them, either in ROTC, classmates, or any time he had it in college. Tallulah Falls has had so much more of an impact than I think we could ever imagine for every single one of these honorees here today. And I think it's just set a seed in these people that has spread to so many others that we will never even know, far beyond what we've seen. We'll continue to share the legacy of Caleb and Tallulah Falls School through his scholarships, endowments, and now today, this honor. Thank you.
As we conclude, Valencia, Sharon, Malcolm, and Caleb B. of the Griffis family, if you'll please stand. TFS proudly inducts each of you into the 5th class of the TFS Athletic Legends Hall of Honor. As we conclude the ceremony, we want to reiterate the ripple effect that honoring each of these legends has in our TFS community. So really, it's beyond just them personally. I'm very happy for you individually of receiving this honor, but it's also something that's very special to TFS, that your legend lives on. It reminds us that all that we do now matters, that details matter, that commitment, work ethic, discipline, and sacrifice is good, that adversities are critical to growth, that leadership is as simple as caring enough to influence great actions. It reminds us to give our best effort and to be great. As inaugural 2018 inductee Mariam Abdullah so profoundly stated, legends stand out and create their own paths. So Valencia, Sharon, Malcolm, and Caleb, the Griffis family, you are legends in the heart of TFS. Congratulations. And that concludes our ceremony. We will now take pictures up here. Thank you all for attending.